Welcome to the Dansports.tips MLB preview show for today, the 6th of May. We did okay last night, despite the wind not being quite as strong blowing out as we'd seen in the forecast. We still copped both bets there, and DeGrom didn't perform for the Mets at all. Leaked a few runs early. The Mets were getting no hit through, I think, about 7 innings. So, you know, you win some, you lose more, as they say. But we're getting close back to levels again. At some point, I'm sure we're going to race on through. There are a few games tonight. There is going to be a Twitter play later on because the Cubs game still isn't up, which is why the show's a little bit later today than expected. So keep an eye out on Twitter for that. And let's get on to today's plays. We're going to look at 3 games. Those of you that looked at the comments on yesterday's show, I don't do requests, it's just how today's worked out. We'll look at the Padres and the Mets today. Drew Pomeranz is pitching for San Diego. He's been pitching really well and suffering from a lack of run support. That is to be expected. It's a risk you're going to take any time you're getting involved with the San Diego Padres. He's allowed 4 earned runs in 18 innings over his last 3 starts. 3 of those runs were in a single game against San Francisco. He's allowed 1 and 0 the other 2 starts, obviously. The Mets do not hit left-handed pitching anywhere near as well as they do right-handers. Noah Syndergaard is up for the Mets today. We know what Syndergaard is. He's a good pitcher. He hasn't been as good the last couple of times as he started the year. He has allowed 7 runs over his last 2 starts against San Francisco and Cincinnati. This will be the 2nd start of his career at Petco Park. Somehow, despite it being a pitcher's park, Syndergaard got shelled for 7 runs on his first visit to San Diego. I don't feel these prices are a reflection on the actual chances San Diego has to win this game. So we're going to play San Diego on the money line, and we will also play on an alternate run line of -1.5 as well. The next game I want to look at is the reigning champs, the Kansas City Royals against the Cleveland Indians. I think it's fairly safe to say the Royals are somewhat embarrassed by the shellacking that was handed out to them, partly through their own doing against the Nationals in their home ballpark a couple of days ago. The Royals aren't hitting, they aren't pitching very well, and they've started to make defensive errors as well. That just isn't Kansas City Royals baseball. You know, they play good defense, they pitch well, they get bloop hits. I would suggest and have felt for a number of years they're a bit lucky with their offense, but you know, it works for them. I do think they're going to come out angry today in a divisional matchup with Cleveland and try and prove the point and get back to their brand of baseball. That's not going to be very good for Danny Salazar, who's up for Cleveland. Salazar is a good pitcher. He strikes out a lot of batters. Kansas City don't strike out very much. They work the count. Salazar walks too many hitters. This is going to play into Kansas City's brand of baseball perfectly. If your Dano Ventura comes out and pitches well, maintains his control and avoids the beginning that comes when he does sometimes lose his control, then this price is too big on Kansas City. Ventura does have a solid history against the Cleveland Indians, going 4-1 with a 2.62 ERA. Salazar, on the flip side of that coin, historically has struggled with Kansas City. In 9 starts, he does have a losing 4-5 record and a 4.64 ERA. So I think we're going to play Kansas City on the money line, and we will buy to the run line as well. The final game that I'm going to look at on the show is the Oakland-Baltimore game. I'm going to play Rich Hill to strike out 9 or more batters and Oakland to win the game at 100-30 with Padres. Now, being honest, the line is probably a couple of strikeouts higher than I was hoping to see, but I do think that is reflected in the price because the price for this special is higher than you usually see in these markets. Baltimore aren't hitting at the moment. They've been shut out more than once recently. The heady days of their early season run where they were scoring runs in bunches and not striking out do appear to be firmly in the rearview mirror now, and they are resembling the Orioles that I was expecting to see at the start of the year. And they are now slowly climbing up the table of team strikeouts as well. Ubaldo Jimenez will pitch today for Baltimore. He's not a pitcher I like to trust, particularly not in a hitter's park like Camden Yards. He gave up runs in a bunch in a defeated big inning against the White Sox the last time out, and he has allowed a home run every start he's made at Camden Yards this year. Rich Hill will go for Oakland. He's been their most consistent starter. He already has 2 10-strikeout performances to his name this year, so I do think 9 is achievable against this lineup. I'd have just preferred 7, let's be completely honest. As I said, I am going to be looking at the Washington and Cubs game because I don't like Lackey in that spot. He makes me nervous at Wrigley Field. The forecast is for a little bit of wind blowing out as well. I much prefer Max Scherzer to keep the ball in the yard at Wrigley today. Both lineups are obviously powerful. There could be runs, but I'm certainly leaning towards Washington, dependent on what the prices look like. So keep an eye on the Twitter account, and I will see you all tomorrow. Best of luck if you're having a play today. Play ball.